Hey, it's Lakeisha. Today I want to talk to you about self-confidence and escaping low self-esteem. And I just wanted to talk to you about this because I feel like it's very difficult sometimes. And I've been dealing with this myself for the last month or so. So I just wanted to give you a couple of tips or positive vibes, positive thoughts about how to go about increasing your self-confidence. So just a small little story. I've been going through what you would call rebuilding myself, trying to find the things that I really love and enjoy and pursue them, and not just do what I've always done and not do what other people have caused me to believe that that's what I should be doing. And now I'm at the point where I know what I want to do, I know what direction I want to go, but I also am looking for the strength in myself to, sometimes you talk to people and they're like, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, and if you don't like it, kick rocks. I'm looking for that. And it's not always easy to pull that out, especially when you're starting something new that you're not really familiar with, or something that you've never done before and you don't really have all the expertise and information about it. Then you don't feel 100% comfortable about how strong you are in knowing what you're doing. And it takes time. It takes time to figure out how to do things your way, and it takes time to figure out what exactly your angle is and how you want to help people and things of that nature. But I feel like if you know that your confidence is low, then that's like the first part of it, is figuring out what you need to address. And so I felt like I needed to address my self-confidence as far as last year I quit my job to fully pursue my endeavors as a last year I quit my job to fully pursue being an entrepreneur. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I went to school to learn how to do that, and then ended up working at a 9-to-5 job for 7 more years after I got my degree. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, and every job is a lesson of what you should be doing and how you can increase your knowledge in different ways. But at this point, it was kind of like, now or never. And I feel like over these past 6 months, I've gone through a big change in my life as far as who I am and who I want to be perceived as, and how I perceive myself. So now I'm working on, staying on schedule and knowing exactly where I'm going and what I need to do. But I also am working on myself as far as, looking in the mirror every day and knowing that I made the right decision. And sometimes, I don't personally have this issue where I don't have people that are supporting me, but sometimes we don't always have people who are supporting us and, telling us that we're going in the right direction to follow our dreams. And so I just want to tell you that if this is something that you're pursuing, then yes, you are definitely going in the right direction, and it's not going to be an easy journey, but it's going to be well worth it. I have to tell myself these things. I actually started to read affirmations each day about confidence and success, and I'm going to keep reprogramming my brain until it's natural for me to just think that way, because practice makes perfect. I don't really like that word perfect, but practice helps you remember, and it keeps it in your brain longer. So the first thing that I would tell you to do, well, I'm not going to tell you to do anything. The first thing that I did was I looked in the mirror and I kind of broke down what it was that I wanted to change, what I wanted to keep. And then after I kind of figured all that, after I figured out what I wanted to change about myself and what I wanted to keep, you know, you make a list. And you also have to evaluate, you know, the lies that you've been told over the years. And sometimes these lies are so deeply embedded in us that we don't even realize that we've taken these lies on as the truth. Like your money story. And when I say money story, I mean, you know, the things that you learned as a kid about money, it affects you to this day. So if your parents were like, money doesn't grow on trees, and you know, we're always short all the time on money, or you didn't get to do a lot of things because money was a big issue as a kid, when you get older, those mentalities are still with you. And how can you have a wealthy mentality if you're still carrying around these old money stories of negative money and how you'll never have any and this and that, and you can't be successful with that mind state. So it's really about, you know, being honest with yourself about where you're trying to go and what's been stopping you, so that you can remove those barriers and move forward with your life in a direction that you would like to pivot in. So the next thing that I did was I imagined what it would be like if I had high self-esteem. What would my day be like? What would my life be like? What would my work life be like? What would my love life be like? Why would it bring me joy to have this positive self-confidence and self-esteem about myself? Well, number one, I wouldn't spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think of me. I would just go out and do what I feel is necessary to be done, and you know, if people don't like it, then so be it. That's on you, but I have to live my life. And that's a good way to be when you want to stay focused and not be distracted by what others are putting on you as what you should be doing or what your life should be, because you only have one life and they have their own, and you're not running it. You need to run yours. So you need to figure out exactly what it is that you want, what it's going to look like, so that when you get there, you know that you're there. Another thing that I did was I got real strict on the negative self-talk. It's always good to have a partner who can kind of audit with you, because sometimes you don't even hear yourself saying negative things about yourself or life in general. But it's important to realize that sometimes, like, okay, even for me, I felt like I was a very positive person all the time, and this was like a couple of years ago. I felt like I was the most positive person, and yes, to a certain level I was positive, but I also had, you know, those negative subconscious things going on that I didn't even know about or notice. And so one of the things that helped me, like I said, was auditing. If you have a partner who is kind of on that bandwagon of trying to be more positive, and you have a conversation and they say something that you're like, oh, maybe you should say it like this, you know, when you run that back and forth against each other, then you're more aware of what it sounds like when you're saying something that's not so positive. And then you're more capable of changing that and making your language in a more upstream positive way. The other thing that I realized was it's important to realize that it doesn't happen overnight. It's gonna be some time before you figure out exactly where you want to go, exactly how you want to be, but it's steps. So assuming that you have just made a decision to move forward in your life in a positive direction and be more confident, that's, the first step is making a decision. But you also have to continuously work on it and not expect that it's gonna happen overnight. It could take months, it could take years. It just depends on how deeply embedded are these negative stories and low self-esteem embedded into your subconscious mind, is how long it's going to take for you to remove them and replace them with more positive, confident thoughts and talk. And then the other thing that I did, which makes it a lot easier, maybe not the actual process of doing it, but once it's done, it makes it a lot easier to be a positive and more confident person, is to remove the wrong influences or people from remove the wrong influences or people from yourself or from your environment. So yes, if you're hanging around people who are, always negative, always looking at the worst side of things, and it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a lover, it could be anybody, but it doesn't matter who it is. It matters whether or not you're committed to moving on to this positive state of mind or not, because if you're immersed in negative, it's gonna seep in. So yes, if you can, do your best to disconnect from those people who are negative or who are not positive all the time, or just only focus on negative things. But it also means, and wait, let me just back up. When you're at work, you can't necessarily disconnect from your boss or whoever it is, but you can disconnect. You can walk away and take a break, or you can just talk to yourself in your mind and say, well, that was negative, but, and then find someone to replace it in your mind, or find some way to redirect the conversation if it starts to go left, or like I said, you can just excuse yourself if you can't deal with that. And that's not always the easiest thing to do either. But the other thing that I think is important that a lot of people don't realize is, what are you on your phone, on Instagram or YouTube or wherever, or the blogs, and you're seeing all this negative stuff, one person's fighting with another, or all this doom and gloom in the news, or what are you watching on TV, what kind of music are you listening to? Like, you really have to think about all the things that you're pulling into yourself, even if you're not even listening. Like, if your TV is on and Maury's on and they're fighting, or it's Jerry Springer, not that you watch Jerry Springer or Maury, but that's just an example. Even if you're not watching it, it's playing in the background, that stuff is seeping in. So I made it a point for myself to not watch things that are negative on TV, to not listen to music that's negative, and to only immerse myself in positive things that are going to point me into the wealthy, healthy mind state that I'm trying to go into. So that means if I'm on YouTube, then I'm looking up, things for my business, or I'm looking up, videos that make me feel happy, like, bring me joy, like, babies and kitties. And not that you have to do that, but I'm just saying that I'm not on there looking for, political party, why they hate each other video, or why this celebrity is in the news because of some terrible thing that they did. I'm looking for things that are more positive. I'm watching affirmation videos, I'm doing meditation videos, or I'm listening to soft music, or I'm on my phone when I'm playing something. I'm either playing some positive, high vibration music, or I'm listening to an audiobook that's going to help me to have more self-confidence and more success in my business. I'm immersing myself in positive. And the more that you do that, the easier it will be for that to come out of your mouth without thinking. Now think about it. What would happen if I were to only listen to really negative music, only listen to, watch reality TV where people are fighting and doing messy stuff to people, only watching the news every single night before bed? That takes positive energy out of you. It's pulling all this negative energy in and all the positive energy out. And you have to realize that, TV was a great invention, but even with the commercials, you don't have control. They just come on and they're in your environment and you're absorbing it in. So just be very careful about, what you listen to, what you're putting into your subconscious mind. Like I said, even if you feel like you wasn't really paying attention, it's still absorbing. Your ears don't close. You don't understand what I'm saying? So just be very positive and make sure that you take those steps forward to increase your self-esteem and keep moving forward to adjust yourself to the image of who you want to be and who you see you becoming. And once you keep taking those steps forward, then it's only a matter of time before you're actually there. So anyway, I just wanted to do this video because this is something that I was struggling with this month. I was away from the camera because I was going through some other things in my personal life, and now I feel like, after some retrospect and after sitting down and, forming a plan of where I want to go and what I want to do, and, I'm not a... Actually, I have to say this. I downloaded this book, and side note, library has all these free ebooks that you can just download if you have a library card for free, so it's like a wealth of knowledge. But anyway, I downloaded this book and it was about low self-esteem, and I was like, okay, this is going to be great. It's going to give me all these tips on how to go about or whatever. And so I'm listening to the book, and they were describing, what type of person that they are addressing, and the more that I listened, the more I was like, that's not me. So the book was more looking for people who were just what's the word I'm looking for? They were socially awkward. They were kind of stunted by leaving the house even to go out, or canceling with family and not even showing up as themselves for, important things. And that's not me. So I felt like it wasn't really what I was looking for. For me, it's really about being confident in the direction that I'm trying to go in life. So I feel like this is something that, some people, when they start a business, they feel like they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly that it's going to work out, and they have no doubts. And that just wasn't me. I'm a Virgo, so I feel kind of results driven, and I feel like if I see some results, then I'll be like, oh, okay, this is working, I'm gonna keep going in this direction. And that's just the way my mind works. So I need to have that self-confidence and that self-esteem in myself. And even thinking about it, like, I know what other people feel like I bring to the table, but I need to feel as strongly about what I bring to the table as they do. And that's where I am. So it's a process. It's a process of learning myself. It's a process of letting things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and just riding that wave of this is something new and I have to learn it and get comfortable here. So I hope that any of these things that I just listed, if you're going through something like this, that it helps you move a little bit closer to where you're trying to go. And so just to reiterate, take that look in the mirror. Don't believe the lies. Imagine what your high confidence or high self-esteem would look like for you. Do affirmations. Stop negative talk. Take one step at a time, and remove yourself from wrong people or influences. And those are some of the things that I've been doing, and it has been very helpful, especially those affirmations, especially taking the time to really focus on what it is that I want and what direction that I want to go has also helped. So hopefully some of these tips helps you as well, and I'm glad that I was able to make this video for you. And let me know if this assisted you in any way, or if you have any other tips to help other people, leave those down in the comments below, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you again soon. And this is Lakeisha, Virgo Vibe, out.